All right, as promised, we're now going to go through some of the scatter plots that you and I have talked through, and we're going to do some of the same things that the guy in the previous videos kind of walked you through. And then there's going to be one additional skill that I'm going to teach you on the graphing calculator, and that is how to find the correlation coefficient. Remember, if something's a very strong positive correlation coefficient is going to be really close to 1. If it's a really strong negative correlation, it's going to be close to -1. So basically, the closer it is to 1 or -1, the stronger the correlation. If it's close to 0, then that means there's almost no correlation, etc. So that's going to be like the one new thing that you'll see in this video. But we're going to do some more practice and walk through how to get this information into our calculator so that we can do scatter plots, line of best fit on the calculator, and ultimately figure out what the correlation coefficient is as well. Okay, so this should be familiar to you, hopefully. This is our density information from our periodic properties lab from science, and we're going to generate a scatter plot with this information. And instead of MetaChart, we're going to use our TI-83 calculator. Okay, I will use my actual real calculator if I feel like that y'all can see what's going on in the screen. I do have another calculator that's an online version that looks like this. That's a little bit different. The buttons are basically the same, but y'all can see that the format's just a little bit differently because it's a virtual TI-84 Plus. So we'll use that if we have to, but like I said, if I feel like y'all can see this, then maybe we'll just use that for right now. All right, so let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is we need to enter our information into the calculator. Okay, I'm already finding it a little difficult to use this just because I want to sit there and click on the buttons and I can't because it's an actual calculator. So I am going to go ahead and switch to this one. And let's see. Okay, so like I said, the buttons are a little bit, blockier here, but it's the same set of buttons pretty much. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go back and enter this information. Remember, our X values were the period numbers and our Y values were the densities. So we're going to go to Stat and Edit. And our list 1 is going to be our X values, which are period numbers. So 3, 5, and 6. Hit Enter and go over. The period 3 element was silicon, and it had a density of 2.3. Our period 5 element was tin, and it had a density of 7.1. And our period 6 element was lead, and it had a density of 10. All right, so it's going to be a very simple scatter plot because there's only 3 ordered pairs. But let's go take it from there and go to the next step. Okay, so you're going to hit the second function button so that you can select the stat plot. And we're just going to use the first plot. So that's cool. Hit Enter. We do need to turn it on. So hit Enter so that the on is blinking. Okay, and then we are going to, y'all don't have this color option, so that's one of the little differences. Yours stops with the little mark, but that's okay. Go to your window settings. And I'm going to do like -1 as my X minimum. I'll just leave it as 10 for my X maximum. Scale of 1 is fine. -1 for my Y minimum. That's just so that, my X and Y axis are a little bit away from the margins of the screen and I can see them. Y maximum, I know I have a density of 10, so I'm going to do something a little bit bigger than 10 for my Y max. Okay, once again, there's a couple of little doodads down here that you don't have, but it's not a big deal. What I need you to do, we already entered the ordered pairs, we set our window, We told it, we wanted it to be stat plot 1. So all we really need to do is graph. So hit graph, and you should get 3 data points. Your data points are going to be black and white because you've got a little bit older calculator, but there they are. So we have plotted and made our scatter plot of period number and density. The next thing we're going to take you through, or that I'm going to take you through, is drawing the line of best fit. Remember, we can eyeball this and just take a ruler on a graph that's on a piece of paper and do our best with it, but it's better to do it, and it's more accurate to do it on a calculator. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so in order to get our y equals mx plus b equation, we need to go to stat, and we need to come over here to calc. And what we're going to calculate is the linear regression, in other words, the line of best fit. So we're going to select 4. And, okay, again, mine's a little bit different because it's already telling me that L1 and L2 are my X and Y. On yours, you're going to have to type that in. Okay, so I've just hit the stat button, come over to calc, hit 4. So you're going to do a linear regression, in other words, a line of best fit. And second one tells it L1, separate it by a comma. Second 2 tells it L2. So it's going to use list 1 for the X, list 2 for the Y. And then just hit enter. Okay, y equals ax plus b. A, in other words, your slope, is 2.5428, blah, 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 blah. And b is negative 5.4. Okay, so you can actually generate a line of best fit, an equation for a line of best fit, using those steps. Okay, so what I've done is gone back in time for a few moments. Here's the point where I'm about to ask it for the ax plus b. So hit enter, and there's everything. Now, this tells you the equation of the line, but it doesn't graph the line. So that's what we're going to do next. So go down here and hit your y equals button. Then you're going to go over here and hit the vars button. And we are going to do, this is a statistics thing that we're doing, so we're going to hit 5. Then we're going to come over here to EQ, and it's number 1 that I actually want because it's a regression equation. In other words, put a line of best fit on the graph, please. Hit enter. And it tells you, okay, here is my equation of the line of best fit. It used that information from ax plus b that you saw just a minute ago. And then when you go over here and hit graph, it graphs the line of best fit. Okay. Now, there is one other thing that I would like to show you that's very helpful. Okay, so here I am with my 3 points with the line of best fit that's been drawn. And there's actually a simple way that this calculator will generate the correlation coefficient for you. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to this vars button, so hit that. And we're going to go back to statistics because it's still a statistics sort of thing that we're doing. So hit 5. Go back to equation. Now, instead of hitting 1, we want to hit 7 because we want the R value. Remember earlier in the lessons, R was what they decided to use for correlation coefficient. So we're just at this screen, instead of hitting 1, we're going to hit a 7 and hit enter. And it gives you the correlation coefficient. So the correlation coefficient for this is 0.9988, which means that there is a really, really, really strong correlation between period number and density, a really strong positive correlation. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is basically the same steps, but we're going to do that latitude and average annual temperature. And remember, there are a few other points. There are a few more points on that one than there are on this one. So that one might take us a little bit longer. But we're better at it, so maybe we can get it through a little faster.